I thought I heard that Natchez whistle blow. And I thought I heard that Natchez whistle blow. It blowed so low and it blowed so sweet. I was laying in my bed on Toulouse Street when I thought I heard that Natchez whistle blow.
So, welcome. Thanks for coming on time. I just got here from the rec center where I was reading up on Kanjuro Shibata Sensei, 20th in a line. Can everyone hear? A little closer. Can you hear Matthew with one T? You still can't hear. Maybe you should come up here and don't be shy. All right. Is that Matthew? You're so far away I can't really tell. So, it's actually an incredible honor. It's so almost out of context, it's hard to understand what an honor this is for myself. When I was a little child growing up in Boulder in the very strange circumstances in which I grew up, which, as usual, I won't go into because I'm really about you and not about me. I had the good fortune as a little child of studying with Shibata Sensei, who's right here. He's the 70-year-old Japanese gentleman warrior. He's the real Last Samurai, not Tom Cruise. And so this is first in a series of weekly, or second actually, of, okay, right in my mouth. Second in a series of weekly elephant lives, as we call them. I'm starting to call them Elevision, like you take the T off television. And we're broadcasting it live. You're all, maybe we could pan on the crowd or something. You all are live at imelephant.com, and 2 people across the world are at this moment watching. So Brian Patrick over here is the great mind behind that, and we don't have too many other great minds behind Elephant, except for our staff, of course, Elisa the photographer, and Sarah, who gets to put up with me, and who is the banjo player. And I realize you still can't hear. So without further ado, Kanjuro Shibata Sensei, let's give a warm, very American welcome. Woo! So Sensei.
Hi.
Hi. So I guess my first question for our friends here, for you, is I understand that you teach kudo, Zen Archery, or something like that. And what's the point of shooting an arrow at a target again and again and again when I hear that the point is not to hit the target? It's a talk show.
Okay. Everybody, good evening. Today, many people coming. Thank you very much. Kudo, understand people, how many people?
How many of you know what kudo is?
1, 2, 3. Kudo は、first インドのアブヒマンダラという言葉です。しかし今ジャパンもインターナショナルもkudo はターゲットオンリーシューティング。ターゲットシューティングナンバーワングッド。しかし当たってよし、当たらなくてもよし、どちらでもいいです。
So he just made a point that actually the roots of kudo are from India and come from the avaduti mandala, the cleaning of the inside. And he said the point of kudo, you might think it's about hitting the target, but actually hitting the target or not hitting the target, wherever your arrow goes, that's fine.
So I understand you're 20th in a line of imperial bowmakers to the Emperor of Japan. If that's correct, what does that mean, and how did you come to be in Boulder, Colorado? I understand you live here much of the time. You can all see the subtitles, right? Right.
どうして弓道をアメリカで、now almost 30 years.
He's been here almost 30 years.
Now Kyoto, my son, kudo make. Sometime Europe going. This year, maybe coming Europe and どこでした?
This year, Vermont, Europe, Nova Scotia, California.
Understand. Don't mind. 弓道はターゲットオンリーではありません。ターゲットシューティング、ナンバーワン、ナンバーローかも分かりません。しかし、インサイドのクリーニング、当たってエゴ、ワンモハイエゴ、これはナソグッド。当たれば当たるほどディープ、many inside good feelings これもグッドスタイルはなるほどにいいです。しかしそれが本当ではありません。
So he was just saying again that the point of kudo is deeply cleaning your heart, and that's actually the target of kudo, is deeply cleaning your heart and also cutting your ego. And if you think it's about getting better and better at something and building up your ego, that's not the case. It's actually about cutting your ego. And the same goes for having a good style or just cultivating purely an outwardly good form in kudo. That's not the point. The point again is cleaning the inside deeply. Sensei, どうしてどうかボードに来ました。誰か
弓道はワンデーでマスターすることはできません。10 year one step, 10 year one step. Meditation the same. Zazen, first Zazen, second Ritsuzen. Ritsuzen means kudo. The third, walking meditation. Zen style です。Other country は all target 射撃、弓道は的に当たらなくてはダメという考えに、これはファニーです。
So he says you don't become a kudo master in one day. In 10 years you take one step, and in another 10 years you take another step. He says that's like all meditation practice. So, and he said a lot of countries practice archery, you know, and make a big point in their practices of hitting the target or becoming a good archer, but that's really questionable. And in the case of kudo, it's meditation.
So, Sensei, I've heard you talk about kudo as meditation in motion or meditation in action, or moving meditation, maybe you say. And how does that work? Because I think for a lot of us here, obviously we don't do kudo. So how does something like kudo apply to helping us be a good human being? How is it relevant to our life?
So, one other translation, I'm sorry, from before I forgot. He explained there were 3 types of meditation. There's sitting meditation, there's Ritsuzen, which is standing meditation, and kudo falls into that category, and there's also walking meditation. And
それは1日では分かりません。10 year one step, 10 year two step.
Again, you won't understand this in one day, this point. 10 years, one step, 10 years, second step.
Well, then let me ask about manners, because I know you talk a lot about manners, perhaps because you're in America and you notice that people need to hear about manners a little bit, like myself. So what can we learn from you about manners and how to be a good human being?
Before Buddha's top teacher, Trungpa Rinpoche のアイデアでして、一つ、弓道は礼儀を正しくすべし。二つ、真偽を重んずべし。三つ、忠節を尊ぶべし。この三つはピープルの一番大切なことと私は思います。猫、犬でも礼儀正しい犬はマナーはデフカあとドクドワワワってドントマイン弓道もプラクティスターゲットシューティングこれはダメだろうと私は思います。
So Sensei explained that Trungpa Rinpoche is the person who urged him to stay here, said please don't give up on us and stay and teach. And out of that connection, Sensei composed 3 slogans for kudo practice that were from his connection to Trungpa Rinpoche. And the first is to uphold genuine good manners. The second is to be honorable, keep your word. The third is to be loyal. And he just said the third is actually the most important point for human beings. It's actually what makes us human. And he said even the first point, manners, it's very difficult if you're an animal, dogs or cats. Sometimes they might display it, but it's actually difficult in the animal realm. So he's talking about these 3 points as actually what is possible for human beings that actually can elevate us out of a sort of dog-eat-dog world.
しかし皆さんはよく知っておられると思います。礼儀は正しく。Of course、一番ピープルの大切なことです。やはり目上の人、朝、グッドモーニング、おはようございます。これは当然です。しかしそれも知らん顔して。セカンド、真偽を重んじべし。フレンドとフレンド。約束事は必ず守る。これは大切なことと私は思います。3つ、忠節を尊ぶべし。これはカントリーの愛を代表しております。愛がなければダメです。1、2、3。これは大切なものと思います。
So all 3 of these are most important points, he says. And the first one, having good manners, he says it's pretty obvious. He thinks you understand what that would mean. For instance, you wake up, you see someone, you say good morning when you see them. He says people actually know this, but they don't practice it anymore. But we know what good manners are. We just need to practice them. Secondly, in terms of keeping your word, this is very basic. If you make a date with your friend, you don't let them down. You don't cancel on your friend. You don't show up late. You actually follow through with your word. That's very powerful. But again, we need to practice it. And the third point, which he says also is really high quality point, is loyalty. And he says, in fact, this extends to your country. And loyalty is love. It's actually that it starts from love. And you should love your country.
最後に、1時間。いいですか。
はい。
Sensei wants to sing you a song, which I will tell you is a real treat. And this is a traditional Japanese song he asked me to translate briefly. It goes like this. There's one goose, and the goose sends out a love call. And then there are 2 geese, and they call together. And then there are 3 geese. Then 4 and 5 and 6 geese. And then one flies away. But then another one comes. And after a while there are many, many geese. And they fly together and form the shape of an arrow in the sky.
では、少しやってみます。一眼 とも呼び両眼なる三眼四眼五六眼眼さりて眼たりて無限の眼眼眼眼眼ガガンの眼どうもありがとうございました。
どうもありがとうございます。So, Sensei, just to put in a little plug, and this is not something I was asked to do, but it's something we really should check out. On 19th Street in North Boulder is Sensei's dojo, and many geese can fly there in the shape of an arrow. I think on Sundays, is that correct? And Thursdays. And the website is ryokokudojo.org. Zenko.org might be easier to remember. Zenko.org. And thank you so much.
Thank you.